last episode of WildChild found us motor sailing for almost 7 hours. We just couldn't find any decent wind to sail in. As the sun set, we were hoping our luck would change. Maybe we would get thermal effect winds. Oh well, the ocean can be rather beautiful when she's calm. Although WildChild's engine had been purring along beautifully for the last 7 hours, I really didn't want to motor all night long. I was debating throwing a spinnaker in the dark. She couldn't understand why I'd run and hide, but I'd never leave. So we're night sailing again. It is 7:10 p.m. and we are near Georgetown on our way to Charleston, South Carolina. We've been motoring without winds for 7 hours. It's the longest we've been in the doldrums. About noon today the wind died off, and then we've been under motor since noon. It's 7:10 now. And finally by 7 o'clock at night the wind picks up. We got, 5-6 over 3.8. Hallelujah for the freaking wind. That's the longest we've ever motored and the longest we've been in the doldrums. To be honest, I was seriously thinking about giving up. I've got the radar on now, looking around for blips, and we don't see any. There's, to give you an idea of where we are, this is Charleston, South Carolina, and this is Georgetown. We were kind of heading into Georgetown. We've come from Cape Fear, and we were sort of hugging the coast because the winds were supposed to be offshore at 8 to 10 knots all day. The winds died about here, and we've been motoring ever since. It's awful. Like, we're sailors, we hate motoring. I can't stand motoring. So I'd kind of brought the course under motor to come to the entrance of the Georgetown inlet, so at least we would have options. If no wind came, we could drop out. But the wind has come, so I've borne off 20 degrees or 10 degrees, sort of out to sea. Yay, we're finally sailing. Nothing on the radar, no contact. 5 over 4. Look at WildChild go with a wind angle of 105. So it's almost a beam reach. Look at her go. 5.6 over 4.1. Go WildChild, go WildChild, go WildChild. It's your birthday, you're the girl. WildChild is like the best boat in the world. God, I love this girl. She can just go. Give her a chance and she can go. And what do you do on night shift is you chill out in the chair while you are strapped in. I'm always strapped in at night so I don't pass out or have seizures. And I've been watching a movie and motoring, but it's hard to hear over the sound of the motor. It's all quiet now. And this is a night shift. Michelle's down below trying to get some sleep because he does take most of the shifts. Took 7 hours for the wind to pick up. Yay! We have full main, and I just let out, what did I let out? About 90% Jenny, or no, maybe 70% Jenny. Yeah, I know, guys. I don't. In a lot of the other videos, we didn't give you nighttime scenes because it's very difficult to film at night. But I think it's part of the experience, so I kind of want to show it to you. Nighttime on WildChild. At least the ocean is calm. We're not rolling in waves. It's flat. So a little bit of wind on flat water. WildChild's moving. 4.8 over 3.7. Bye, guys. Hey, baby.
You okay?
Have you come for your shift?
I hate it when you have to dress like that. Is it cold? Yeah.
No, it's not that cold.
What do they know about my personality? They said I've been an old fart since you were 14. Well, that's always a pain. It means how many 8th graders carry a briefcase and a pocket watch? That was the Esperanto Club look. Okay, well, unless you know all the
Yay, we're sailing, yay!
It's a nice passage tonight so far.
Yeah, so I have about 70% Jenny out, and we have full main. The wind was 6 or 7, it's now steady 10 up to 13. We may or may not have to throw in some Jenny. We're 12 over 6.7 or whatever we're flying. Well, we were averaging 7 knots there a little while ago. She moves. WildChild really moves. That's the one great thing about her. She goes.
Yeah. I dress like
Eskimo?
yeah.
Good plan.
Yeah.
Dress freaking warm because it'll be near freezing tonight. It's not supposed to freeze, but it's supposed to be like 2 or 3 degrees Celsius.
Yeah. Okay.
WildChild, hey baby. We love her. This is the girl that goes. We've been watching the radar. We've got a radar contact. I don't know if it shows up, but on the camera, but kind of. Let's turn on blue lights. There's a radar contact beneath us, and then there's one up over on the corner there. The entire wind forecast from the weather guessers has been wrong, and around 4 in the morning it got really wrong. Well, the same sail that for most of the night was gentle, calm, motoring with no wind, then became like running with a little bit of wind. Now it's, I don't know, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. It's, the wind forecast was supposed to be running winds from behind. Instead, we're 50 degrees on the nose. WildChild right now has full main and like 70% Jenny up. She's moving. We have a sailboat behind us that we passed pretty close to, and another 55-foot pleasure craft that will overtake us on the port beam, or rear quarter. We're starting to, I don't know if you can see, we're starting to splash it over now. See if you can see the white water as we slam through it. The boat's sealed over pretty good. I'm not sure, the rail's not in the water, but you know, here you go. So glassy calm. We're motoring, and now it's like riding a wild horse. The wind's supposed to be behind, now it's on the nose. Mother Nature never reads the wind forecasts. And of course, it's cold out. Change of temperature means increase in winds, and the temperature dropped. Michelle said, he was on watch, he said the temperature dropped and then the winds picked up. Only cold winds are supposed to come out of the north. Right now cold winds are coming out of the southwest. So that can't be good. Cheers. Well, I suppose we should record the misery of sailing. You can see the status of the helm. We're almost in Charleston, which is great. But the sun is rising. There is a ship coming in there and a do, but we can do. Hold on, let the boat move. With the sunrise comes strong winds, so now we're moving, now we can make distance. The ocean conditions are really not that bad. Should we turn into Charleston, South Carolina? Or should we push the extra 60 miles today to Hilton Head? I'm not sure. So I'm looking around on the chart plotter at the Charleston, South Carolina inlet to see is there any place we can go. When I find an aircraft carrier. The USS Yorktown is parked off Hog Island at some place called Patriots Point, right next to a marina, and it's open for tourists. Who could resist the opportunity to go visit an aircraft carrier? How cool would that be? Decision made, that's it, let's turn in. I totally want to see the aircraft carrier. And then we turn in, but the winds are coming from the west, not from the northwest or north. So the winds are on the nose. We've been sailing into it for hours, you know, because wind forecasts are always wrong. That's just the way sailing goes. What can you say except this is sailing? The wave conditions are not that bad. I'll try and keep fine. And it is freezing out. I actually need you soon. No, we gotta tack soon.
Okay, I'm on.
We're near the shipping channel for Charleston. We're only 8 miles away.
Oh yeah!
But the shipping channel's in 3 miles and there's a military vessel parked in front of us. I want to tack to get closer to shore and get a little protection and then head back towards it and then motor in, I guess. It's directly into the wind, so we may have to motor the last 5 miles in this nasty chop. Our problem is going to be getting in. We've arrived on an outgoing tidal flow of 2.3 knots and we'll have to motor directly into the 18 to 20 knots of wind. So motoring against wind and current in the inlet is going to be difficult. You can see the little tack that we made to sort of get in closer to shore, but it's still 10 feet deep, 3 miles off. That's Charleston and that's the entrance, but if you look at the wind angle, it's not a very stable wind angle. You know, this is just, this is light sailing. Michelle's having himself a little snooze. I'm not sure if we've got the rail in the water at the moment. Almost. Oh yeah. The sailing is starting to become unfun. I don't really think I want to do another 60 miles in this today. And because I don't trust the forecasts, I'm nervous. There might be more really nasty weather coming. I mean, all things considered, this isn't even rough sailing. It's just bashing to windward. We're beating into the wind, and it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be a north wind, and we're going south. Instead, it's a westy, southwesty, northwest, westy, southwesty wind on the nose. And it's averaging 20 knots. It's only supposed to be 12. And of course, the wind is coming from where we want to go. Because that happens every time, because Mother Nature has a foul sense of humor. This is miserable. I don't want to do it anymore. I give up. I quit. Somebody come rescue me from this miserable life. Did somebody once say that sailing is fun? I think they lied to me. Anybody that tells you that ocean sailing is fun is lying to you. As we turn into the channel, racing with this ocean liner, at least we've got wave protection. So, same conditions. We're trying to enter Charleston Harbor. We have protection from the waves now. If you look at the details, though, you can see we have engine about as hard as we can, and we're going 0.7 over ground, but our paddle wheel speed 4.3. We're fighting like 3 knots of current, and WildChild's engine's just not big enough to do that. We got to go 10 miles. At this rate, it'll take us 10 hours to get in. Good news is that the current, let me zoom out to show you, the current's going to change in our favor in about an hour. So we're approaching low tide now. We want to get up over here. It's not going well for us though. At least there's no waves. We may have to push the engine more. I hope it doesn't overheat, then we're going to be in trouble. We're almost stopped. We're almost at full power and we're almost stopped. That's not so good for us. This is why it really, really sucks when you enter a harbor at the wrong tide with the current against you. So we're at Charleston. We got to get 10 miles up. We're moving at 1.4 knots with the engine at full power because we're fighting the current. But what are you going to do? Like, you can't sit out there for 6 hours and wait. It was just sort of bad timing on our part. It's just the way it worked out. We've been trying to pass this red buoy for 30 minutes. Look at the strength of that current we're fighting against. It's like sailing upriver. It's brutal. We later found out that our German friends had arrived 4 hours before us and had no trouble getting in. Our Canadian friends on Outlandish arrived 2 or 3 hours behind us. They couldn't get in at all. That's the current that we've been fighting for 30. Probably we have been within 300 meters of that buoy for 30 minutes trying to climb up, and that current is what's stopping us. If there was no current, we'd be moving along at 5 knots. We'd be done in 2 hours. At this rate, we'll be done in 10 hours. But in As time wore on, eventually the current began to slacken. We finally made it in after 6 hours to go 6 miles. We had dolphins to keep us company on the way in. That's gotta be a good sign, right?
There, I got it.
On a sunny morning on December 5th, 2019, WildChild made her way into the Charleston Harbor and found a place just to drop the hook and call it a day after a very long sail. Welcome to Charleston.